Is there a better phone you can use? Hmm?
Okay, this my mic is on. Exactly, as giants of Africa, we have tried all our best to prove to the world that we are indeed giants people. Okay, so right away, this is 103.5 Unique Radio International, your number one edu infotainment radio station in the beautiful city of Calabar. My name is Ob Thompson. You can always call me Ob Thompson for short. On the national newspaper headline review this morning. Okay, don't forget today is the 5th day in the month of August in the year 2024. An amazing day. Let me say good morning to all of you, Malabites and Malabrasis, amazing listeners out there all over the world. Okay, so right away, let's quickly say good morning to all of you in hall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, well, I used the opportunity to learn how to say 1 to 20 actually. Okay, so let's also say good morning to all of you students of First Division. Good morning to all of you. And happiest birthday to all of you born today. Let's quickly say shout out to all of you. I can see my dear mama. Okay, so right away we asked that Mr. President actually had these situations this morning where a driver was saying, Mr. President, lead us well, and he said, Mr. Tinubu. Okay, lead as well. Distinguished governors, lead as well. Distinguished senators, House of Reps members, you have to lead as well because that is the responsibilities that you have. Yeah, this has been a very long days of protest. We'd call it the national protest. A hunger protest. Okay, so right away in today's edition of the National Newspaper Headline Review, and trust me, I'm not going to be doing this alone. We have a gentle, young, good-looking man here, but don't forget to say ladies first. But I'm going to be turning to my left, right-hand side. I had a parade those days, and then somebody was saying, left, right, and then I was just trying to go either side of the show. But however, today with me here in the studio is Ruth Bassey Okim. Good morning, and how are you doing today?
Good morning, I'm doing fine. How about you?
Okay, we're doing amazingly great. Okay, so we're seeing these beautiful and lovely smiles that you're posting. Tell me, what's the secret behind this?
There's no secret.
I thought people say it's always God.
Okay, it's God then.
It's God. Okay, if you're wondering who Ruth is actually Ruth Bassey Okim, an African student for Liberty. She's actually the national coordinator for Sierra Leone and Gambia. Yes, you had that very right, yes. Okay, and with me also here in the studio is live Dumbary. I call him Zabi. You need to see this man. Honestly, the white actually look at you and say, this is an African man. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Ob Thompson. It's
Okay.
so great to be here with you today.
Okay, so he's also the president of African Students for Liberty, precisely. Okay, you're welcome to the show. So today we're quickly going to be looking at these interesting issues of course, it's becoming a national issue. It has become a national issue as it is now. I'm talking about the protest of the nation. Okay, because of these and that. So let's quickly turn to Mrs. Ruth Bassey. Okay, so we've really talked about this protest. To you, what does this really mean? What's the implications of all of this? But before we get to all of that, how do you understand by the word protest?
Okay, for me, protest is a situation where people stand up to fight for their rights,
Okay.
or advocate for a particular cause or against a particular activity.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so let's turn to live right away because we've looked at protest. So what's the difference between protest and dialogue in this particular regards? Because a lot of persons are saying, no, 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 don't go off over this protest. Okay, so we need to play a card of dialogue. Is it something they say we are actually playing the situations in the same card?
Well, one thing leads to the other, okay?
Okay.
So before there could be a dialogue, people must have risen up, you know, and one thing to understand, to add up to what Ruth said,
Okay.
protest is a constitutional right of the people. It's something that is enshrined into the Constitution, meaning that there could be something wrong in the society that gears up the need for protest.
Okay.
Okay, so using Nigeria as a case study now, where we're having the protest against end bad governance.
Okay.
It's a situation whereby the people are being fed up by the happenings in the system.
Okay.
People are being tired by the situation of things. People are facing hardship. So how do you tell people who are hungry, for example, to come and dialogue with you? Okay, when you've not actually presented something that they can resonate with.
Okay.
So there can be a need for dialogue when you are not ready to implement the things that are relevant to the people.
Okay.
Yes, so for me, I could say that, you know, at this point in time, we do not need a dialogue. The government need to stand up and first of all, let the people understand that, oh, we understand the pain. You know, yesterday around 7 a.m. I listened.
You listened to Mr.
Yes,
President. So
listened
I was actually trying to come to that because a lot of persons have said, Mr. President, you need to address the country.
Seriously.
And then Mr. President have addressed the country and people are not happy. What is so what's your take on that?
Yes, what I listened from the starting point
Okay.
to the end point, and my discoveries were this. One, there was no empathy in the statement being made by our president.
Okay.
Because the people are crying that we're facing hardship. Things are difficult.
Okay.
We can't have access to opportunities. We can't go to the market and buy with the little resources we have. So, Mr. President, we expect you to come and talk to us as a citizen, as a people, that, oh, okay, the policies I've implemented are bad. Okay, how do we make adjustment to ensure that things go in the direction where at least 60 to 70% of Nigerians can have access to good things, to good living, to basic amenities. You understand me? So, for me, the statement made by Mr. President wasn't encouraging at all to the citizens. It wasn't encouraging.
Okay, so it wasn't encouraging. Don't forget that this is his own personal opinion and does not in any way stand as the viewpoints of Unicorn Radio International 103.5 Calabar. So let's also quickly turn to Ruth Bassey because we also have a role to play as Student for Liberty. Now when you talk about okay, let's take it this way. What's the role of the Student for Liberty in this particular protest for bad governance in this case?
Okay, Students, first of all, what is Students for Liberty? Students for Liberty is an organization whose mission is to educate, develop, and empower the next generation of leaders of liberty.
Okay.
So we advocate for people to speak up for their rights. We advocate for liberty, for freedom, and we fight for a freer society.
Okay.
So in Students for Liberty, we have been advocating for protest, but peaceful protest.
Okay.
We believe in a better society, but we do not resort to violence. We believe in hosting events, dialogues, debates, and protests do not only come when people carry placards. Even writing of poems, writing of stories, even the dialogue can also be a protest, a peaceful protest. And that's what we do in Students for Liberty. And I join my colleague live to say that sometimes you cannot really expect a dialogue when you're pressing the neck of people. You do not expect them to come and sit down on the table with you and drink bread and tea.
Doing what on the
They
table?
will push you up because the government is sitting on the neck of the citizens of the country. People are suffering. Salaries are not being increased, but the prices of goods and services are skyrocketed. People would not just die. They're not chickens. They will not die in silence. They will protest. And I'm very sorry I feel very bad about the way the protest has taken shape in the country.
Okay.
We usually advocate for peaceful protest and peaceful demonstrations to let the government know the plight of the people. And we're
Okay,
happy that people are
but
speaking
before
up.
you go further, because there have been this concern, okay, that let's take for instance during the days of Goodluck Jonathan, okay, there was this protest that was actually carried out by this current Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today, and then it was a kind of sentimental, it was a kind of let's say a sectional or a factional part of the country. And also we have people from the south saying, oh, it is our brother, people do not need to protest. And then we have the northerners, we have the westerners who went out to protest. And the days of Buhari, we also had people from the south and people from the west who protested. And now we have somebody from the west become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And we have the situation where those in the south are saying, well, we have done our part over the past. And then it is now time for them to decide what they want. And now we are having those from the West saying that no, we do not need. And in fact, there was, is it the honor or something? There's this traditional, right that actually took place within this week of protest. And then we're having people from the North. Now we are hearing the situations and the background settings from the North, where people are saying, no, the hunger is too much, the pains is too much, and so right of it. So, does it mean that Nigeria as it is now, we have been so religious, we have been so factional in terms of leadership? Because, oh, it's my person, it's our person, it's my person who is in government.
Okay, for me, as day 5 of the protest gets close, we see the dichotomy between the north and the south,
okay,
in the protest. Now, let me just do a brief analysis. The southeast is silent. They are not saying anything.
Okay. And
I can understand why, because first of all, the segregation of the southeast in politics, in leadership positions, it is now very plain that the southeast feels like they are at the receiving end of the country.
Okay.
Now, while we advocate for peace, we also understand that the southeast agitation was not started by just the southeast. It started with people killing the Igbos in Lagos. Saying Igbos leave.
Yes, we had the hashtag Igbos must go.
Any Igbo on south, that's before the Biafra started. Any Igbo on south was killed. Then they now say, let us have our country. They didn't, I don't even feel they really wanted to have their own country, but because people were killing them. And now Nigeria is segregating against the Igbos every single time, and they're usually at the receiving end of protests like this. So I understand why the southeast is not joining. Then the south is shyly joining the protest. We can see here and there a few people saying this or that. The southwest is seeing more participation from the protest. We can see and Lagos being the epicenter of such activities. But the north is bloody. The north is now the catastrophe. Yes, there is so much. The north is bloody. People are dying, and I can understand why. Because first of all, the north has high mortality rates of pregnant women. The north has highest uneducated people in Nigeria, highest hungry people, highest everything. They are destroyed. Like, we are protesting. We need to educate these people about the protest. We are protesting about something. People are now destroying. What do they call these slabs on the road? They're just destroying it. Anything in their state. We have this video that was trending. How one of the protesters climbed how do they call it, traffic light. I was marching up and down. Exactly. All right, and so from the south, we also have situation where the protest was done based on political party line. Okay, yes. So let's have your take in this regards. Do you think Nigeria has been politicized to that extent, or something like Nigeria have been so, I don't know, so pushed to the wall that people believe in so much of party? Should we say that? Does this mean party loyalist or party this or that?
Yes, I'll start by saying that right from the time of colonialism, Nigeria has been facing a lot of religious and party differences. So I feel that it has gotten to a point whereby we need to start thinking like Nigerians and not Igbo, not South, not West, not Yoruba, not Ijo, not Niger Delta. We need to start coming together as a people, because the Igbos do not have a different market from the North, from the Northern. The Northern do not have a different market from the Niger Deltans. We are in the same country, being endangered with the same system of governance. So therefore, I want to now urge Nigerians instead, that we should stop all the political ingrained that have been ingrained in us right from colonialism.
Okay.
Yes, because prior to this time, the colonial masters, they do things because they wanted to protect their interests. You get? So if you watch in those years, they bring people together to fight against the other, not for the interest of the people, but to protect their own interest. You understand? So moving forward, Nigerians should start thinking that this is our own country. We shouldn't allow politicians to start pushing us. What is happening in River State? People will think it's political, and yes, it's political actually, because ordinarily, some group of people would have said, oh, this protest will not hold because we're benefiting from this particular group of people.
Okay.
But because there is a kind of conflict going on in the states with the federal,
Okay.
you get? So there's this kind of say, oh, let me allow and support what is going on.
Okay.
But I don't want to bring this to light. What I want to bring to light is we should start thinking of uniformism. Because until we start thinking toward that direction, things will not get better for us as Nigerians.
Okay.
Look at what Martin Luther Jr. did. You get? There was unity in the US, and that gave birth to the civil rights that we have today because of the unity. They were not thinking that, oh, I'm a white. They were not thinking that, oh, I'm from the black community. Everybody came together to fight for the rights, to demand for things that were relevant at that particular time. So we should start coming together as a people, not as religious people, not as ethnic group or political parties. I saw some protesters, on the internet. They were saying that I am not PDP, I am not APC, I am not Labour Party. I am fighting. One man, spoke bitterly, and he said, I have a young boy who is 10 years who knows how to do programming, but I cannot pay the courses my child need to continue his future. So that's why I'm out. I know I do not have a future in Nigeria any longer, but my child do have a future. So I'm out here to fight for my child, to demand for things to be put in order. If systems are being put in place, if governance are being centered around goodness and transparency and accountability, then we will have a people who can thrive in a country, and an economy who would scale through, and people can enjoy things. Thank you.
Okay, exactly. So we'll be going on a short musical break, but this musical break is just going to take us just a few moments here, about just a few seconds. So you also be part of this conversation. Okay, so when we are back, we're actually going to be taking your opinions out there, and the phone numbers to call is 0906 988 0789 or 0809 444458 for your WhatsApp or messages. Okay, so stay tuned and don't touch the dial.
Yeah. So what's next?
We're still on live on air over there, so we still need to be careful because of those who are watching us. Okay, so gentlemen, you're listening to what is saying, right? Now, it helps us understand that whether we like it or not, we are two religious people as a nation. We go to church Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the name of prayers. So we have gone past that stage where we should be so concerned about just prayers all the time. So it is time for us to remove those embargoes. So there are those embargoes. The presidency, the National Assembly are governors. these are the people who are giving us this hand. At the end of this, I'll also play one other short video from South Africa. We have a young girl who was given a privilege to, make a presentation, and then you get to see how powerful, how bold this girl was. And the question would be, in your own liberty movement, okay, in orienting students, how far have you gone in giving this kind of orientation to young people? Because we need to see situations where we need to change our mindset. It's time people need to change their mindset. It's not all about church, 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 church. In fact, I keep saying, if I have my way, I would do away with churches. At most, as big as Calabar should be, we should have just 2 centers of worship, if possible 3. The rest, we turn them to industries, turn them. I saw a particular house in Ekomita, something. We see the entire building, story building. The first floor was church, the down floor was church, the middle was church, and the rest of it. And then during Sundays, you need to ask yourself, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Like, it's so pathetic. But meanwhile, we still come back homes and become so poor. We still come back home and still give the same complaints. But those people who are not even doing this are going about eating and living large. Okay, let's take Israel for instance. We all know how Israel is surrounded by different, terrorist organizations and the rest of it. We have a whole lot going on currently as we speak. So you can imagine we pray that the God of Israel should bless us, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the question now is, if Israel have gone behind to go and sit back and pray to God, do you think they'll survive till now? No. They are now one of the world leading most powerful nation on earth. Technologically, they are there. They are just very little, but they are so powerful that all of these things going on within the nations around them, what happened? They have not been able to strike Israel right from last year, November 10th, or November 6th, that these guys from Gaza came to invade them. What happened till today? You could count the losses. Israel has raided the whole of Gaza, Palestine, and so much. And currently, as I speak to you, Haiti and the rest of it, they are on it. So what are we driving at? I think our people need to be given a proper orientation. Our young people especially need to be given proper orientation. There will be, how do they call? Orientation for new students coming into the school. I hope you seek to have time to talk to young people. During student union government, this and that, I don't know how the possibilities of working in campuses to helping young people, because you come to school and you still wonder why a lot of students, after all the experiences in the school, you still go back to the society and become worse. I begin to ask myself, if you still watch my Facebook posts of recent, I said, I think education and religion have not played any key role in the lives of young people of recent. And I so pity this generation, because the next generation, it will be really disastrous. So a lot of persons just go to school because they want to go to school. They could just go to church because they just want to go to church. There is no difference. We are not seeing anything positively impacting in the lives of young people. So it's really disastrous. So we do hope that this program, or your organization as the case may be, will not just be a name, but will start to devise means to work with institutional leaders. People need to be given proper orientation, on a serious note. People really need to be given proper orientation. In fact, it was so painful that somebody in the university in the final year would tell me that it would be so wrong for us to have a vice chancellor as a woman, an SUG president as a woman, and I was like, are you telling me that if you have a child as a girl and wants to excel to that extent, you tell the child to step down? Do you understand?
Yeah.
I was so worried. I said, well, you're going to see that it's going to happen. And it happened. So where are they? Did I leave the school? Did I force them to leave the school?
There's just so much of re-engineering of the mind that we need to do beyond the classroom activities that we just go listen to lecturers go back home, there needs to be an intentional curriculum that is aimed at polishing the minds of people and imbibing ethical ways of leadership and thinking. Because young people over time, they believe that you have to boycott a lot of processes for you to get to what you want to get, especially in Nigeria, because the system is not helping matters. The system had been programmed in a way that just be rough, just be able to kill, just be able to thief, just be able to just have connection, and everything going to work out for you. You know, that's the mentality that young people grew with, even from the family stage down till they got into the university. So it's an interconnected system. That's why tomorrow during my show I'll be talking about system leadership, because all of these things are interconnected. You know, you were brought up in a home where they have no respect for elders. You will leave your home and you go to the university, and you won't have respect for people, and it will grow until when you become a leader tomorrow. You won't have respect for human beings.
That's true.
You think human beings are just you know, just normal people. You have no regard at all. It all started from the home.
Okay.
So there's so much we can do.
We'll get back to that. So before we go, let's quickly have your last take. So is there anything you want to touch on quickly before we go? Is there anything you want to touch on?
Specific. Okay.
I think a lot of Nigerians, young people, will need to really know if they have the right to really protest. To
Yeah,
really
so
come
what
out.
about the right to protest?
To protest.
As enshrined in the
As in
Nigerian
the Constitution, they need to know that this is a basic right. That
So
is,
after that we are done.
yeah, after
Because
that.
your time is
Then we
up.
can also talk about the unifying of Nigeria. Okay, you spoke about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're just looking at that. Right?
So we have 30 minutes, right? So we have 25. So,
Was it an hour?
yeah, he said it's an hour.
No. 30 minutes for you, 30 minutes for Marshall. Hello?
He told me
Yes,
an
good
hour.
morning.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
We talk about that, you know, let people know that we have students for liberty, you know, on
Yes,
campus
on
where
campus,
they can
yeah.
identify themselves.
Let me know when you're doing that sort of video.
So you have to go to main gate and pick up your ID card. Yeah. Like this one.
Okay, we started.
Anybody?
Okay, so right away, thank you so very much for staying tuned with us. I trust you did listen to that, you know, a word that was actually put out by this clergy. Now, the situation is not about going to church to go and pray, go and stay there from Sundays to Sundays, from morning to night. Yes, and then it's not about that. You know, God say, or the scriptures have actually put it up that, you know, I will bless the works of your hand, you know. It has nothing to do with whether you're a child of God or whether you're not a child of God. In fact, if you ask me, the most developed nations on earth are not even Christians nation, for crying out loud. You know, but it has to do with what? The abilities for people to put up their skills, the abilities of individuals to be sincere, the abilities for individuals to do what is right. Let's take China for instance. China is not a Christian nation. Japan is not a Christian nation. But today, they are technologically a best nation ever that you could ever rely on. Both in technologies, Germany is not even a Christian nation if you ask me, you know, deep down. But however, we are rather relying on these people. So the question is, have we not prayed enough? Have we not gone so much in our religious studies, you know, to have all of these things appear the way it should be in our society today? So that's to tell you that all of these things will not and can never matter. What matters most is abilities to vote for right leadership. Now, we have seen all of these things from 1999 till date, and a whole lot of things have actually, you know, played out. Okay, so we've had bad governance, we've had a lot of persons coming out to deceive us year in, year out. And then the question now is about young people. And then people have decided to say, look, enough is enough. We were actually going to the street to actually protest and say, we are tired, okay, and we are hungry. And don't forget that today in the studio is Ruth Bassey Okim and live Dumbary here with me in the studio. Okay, so a lot of persons actually went to the street and say, we want 10-day protest, okay, and then the question now is, do people or young people really know that they have the right, or it is their constitutional right, to actually protest? Let's turn to you, live Dumbary.
Yes, absolutely. The Constitution is quite clear. If you check at section 39 and 40 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended, you discover that it was expressly, explained that you have the freedom of expression and assembly.
Okay.
This means that you can express yourself freely whenever you see that things are going wrong. Just for example, in the US, when they discover that maybe Biden wasn't cognitive enough to lead the people democratically, they had to come out and say, no, we do not need this man. Let's have someone to represent the Democratic Party that will compete.
But in Nigeria, that's not the case.
But in Nigeria, that's not the case.
We even see young people. Okay, just imagine. I think this African country that we just have a 34 to 35-year-old young guy, a young man as a president. And then in Nigeria, that is not just the case. All we just know is to go to the church and be praying and be praying and be praying and be praying for miracles that will not even come to pass. Okay, just imagine, for instance, this. I posted some days ago that you have to, somebody will have to ask you who is your president as a country, and then you bring out an email and they say, oh, this is your president, and then it's really something to talk about.
Yeah, it's so, because for me, I feel it's the way that our system has been designed. Our system had, the Constitution had given a lot of power to our leaders. Our Constitution has given a lot of authority to the executive president, to the Senate, for them to do things without the citizen, being able to question a lot of things. That's why even when you go to the street to protest, they look for a way to manipulate things so that the blame will come back to you as a citizen who is fighting, trying to express, your rights for things that are not working well. Like now, since 1999, we've lacked governance that is accountable. We've lacked governance, that is transparent. And just imagine, I saw an headline posted by one top personality in this country that said that over 400 billion naira was being distributed to governors as a result of this protest. Why? Because they want to truncate the process. They want to hinder the process, useless. You get? So it has to do with the mentality and the system that have been created for us to come and embrace. So we have to let go. When I came back from Switzerland last 2 weeks, I called one of my mentors, and he was bitterly telling me that our country is gone, because a lot of people who would have taken authority years back were not, coming out. Those good people who would have, make leadership good, who were leaders, refused to go into politics because they feel that politics was bloody. And now we allow criminals, we allow thieves, we allow people who have no ethical behavior, people who have been in prison, for one case or the other, to come and lead us. That's why we're where we are today. So, therefore, young people need to believe that they have the right to speak and begin to develop means that are ethical to demand for the rights. Me, I write, like I'm a member of the World Economic Forum, Global Shapers Community Calabar, and also Students for Liberty. So I use this medium to talk about how young people can develop their mentality and begin to move, that we've gone beyond ethnicity, we've gone beyond, religion, we've gone beyond political powers, political parties rather. You have to now believe that this is your country and we must get it right. And how do you get it right? By developing yourself personally. Then you can now go and talk to the government who is not doing well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That was just it, okay, per se. But trust me, we're going to have that as your last word finally. But let's quickly turn to Ruth Bassey Okim for your last word.
Okay, so my last word is that these protests, apart from the north, the protest was not very violent. Apart
Okay.
from the north, but the government should not see this benign nature of the protest as a failure.
Yeah.
The government should see it as a pointer to something more uprising, to an escalation if nothing is done. From the speech of the president, we see that the president is not really listening to the people. The nation is not your father's house. So
Okay.
you can't be like, I'm standing on this, even if the country is falling,
It's
because
falling.
this is what I want to do. As Students for Liberty Africa, we educate people about liberty, about their rights, because
Okay.
every citizen has the right to protest. Every citizen has the right to speak up against the ills in society. We are not chickens. We can't die in silence. People are suffering in this country, real problems. Now this is just talking about hunger. Healthcare is so expensive. People are dying because they do not have the prices of drugs. There's a drug I was buying for a family member that was, I think, 4,000. It's now up to 20,000 naira. Poor people, should they die?
Should they die?
So, the government should not see the benign nature of this protest as a seemingly failure of the protest. They should see it as a pointer to something greater happening. The government should do the right things. We don't want palliatives.
We don't want
Palliatives that people would.
palliative.
I don't know
We
this
need
part
them
of
to
it.
reduce
Sorry,
the
despite
price of
this
goods
is
and
despite
services.
this is your last take, okay? I don't know why people so glamour so much for
palliative.
palliatives.
What are palliatives? We need you to
And
reduce
stipends and then loans and
Yeah,
the rest of
yeah.
it.
palliatives that the president, that the leaders will look for their family members and give people 2 or 3 cups of curry. We don't need
Guess
that.
what?
We need people to open the border. Reduce. I hope they remove the taxes like they say they're going to do.
But as we speak to you now, we recently been told that Mr. President during his first year or whatever speech said he has removed fuel subsidy. But today, as we speak to you now, Femi Falana has come out to say the federal government have actually spent over 5.4 trillion naira on subsidy, and this is really ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You know,
It's
and then
ridiculous,
young people are
honestly.
sitting behind, getting these crumbs from politicians so that they won't protest. And tomorrow they still go back and still fall back to the same. My own concern is not about this generation. I pity the unborn generation.
See,
that is just my
See,
concern.
I must tell you that this is highly unacceptable because.
But you know, like before you come in, this was just her last time. Sorry about that. So I think we're still having your last
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't need the government to give us fish. We don't need the government to give us little things. We
Okay.
need them to do the right thing.
Okay.
You remove the subsidy without cushioning the effect
Okay.
of the subsidy.
Yeah.
Then the student loan. How many people even
How
get
many-
jobs
how many people?
after service?
After service,
How many people
okay.
do not go and start selling wigs or start doing content creation online? Or start, how would they even pay back the
How would they pay
loans?
back?
How would they do that?
Okay.
The company needs to, and then this administration, the Tinubu administration, funnily enough, they have been focusing on minor things. You came up and decided to change our national anthem. Things that are not important to the country.
That's
You
never my
decided to
concern.
come and start changing things that do not matter.
My
Then the
concern,
things that matter.
my concern is the billions that was being used to
Okay.
change the national anthem.
Exactly. You just came
Oh,
up and
okay.
said, okay, we're going to help the make the country better. And the reason why the country is not better is because there is a phrase in the national anthem that you now decided that people will go to school. Like very minor things. People that are not up to 18 will not go to school. What should they do? They should stay at home and do what?
Okay, but there have been some reports, I think yesterday, that JAM have actually okayed below 16 to, process their
Exactly,
this thing to go to
exactly.
school.
Yeah, so I said that they started measuring on the minor, unimportant things. And then they are saying that you're doing something that is not working. People are suffering. I don't understand. You're thinking about the future. We're going to save the future. So all of us need to die so that of hunger, so that in the future we're going to be saved in the future.
In the future.
What is the point of the future where the people in the present will not survive? The president should look on to doing better things.
Okay,
honestly, I would
that's
say.
just your last word there, Ruth Bassey Okim. She is actually the African Student for Liberty National Coordinator at Sierra Leone and Gambia. Okay, so let's quickly take your last word here at Dumbary Live.
Yes, absolutely. What I would say to Nigerian students and every young people out there is they should start, let me reinforce it again, that they should move their minds away from the little things that we get. There are more that we can get as a people, and that is rooted in the system and governance of this country. Therefore, we should begin to hold the government accountable at all costs. When I was in Switzerland, I felt like I was in heaven.
Oh my God.
Seriously, I felt I was in heaven because the systems were already put in place. You go to the train station, you just bang, 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 and train comes and pick you and take you to your direction, you drop, and everything was just seamless. Everything was seamless. Okay, these things can be replicated and even more in our country, Nigeria, because we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the creativity, we have everything that it takes to make things work out better. So, I want to let you guys know that Student for Liberty is in Cross River State, is in Nigeria, is on campus, University of Calabar, and you can reach out to us because our objective is just to educate young people and empower you with the ideas you need to know about liberty. For you to learn, you have to have the knowledge for you to be able to face the situations that we are actually going through. So I'm looking forward to every young person out there to come and join Student for
a musical break. But it's not going to be a music per se because we are not really ready to dance now because a whole lot of things is actually happening. So we are actually going to see what it's really going to be. Now, there is this young girl, I call her a young leader. I call her a great woman who stood her words, who stood her words and say, yeah, and then had to address the president of South Africa. Take from this young South African. This is something we must never forget, that young people, we have the right. Young people, we have all it takes to make sure that we convince the leaders. We convince our leaders to be the best that they can. It's not about us, it's about the next generation. Today you're living very better, you're earning from the politicians, you're living large. But the question is, would your child be opportune to face all that you have faced to be where you are today when you are no more? Okay, so right away, don't stop the dial. Make sure you don't do it. Stay tuned.